Hey, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Retro Wrestling Review USWA Podcast, coming to you from the Retro Wrestling Archive in Gadsden, Alabama. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, along with producer Smokey behind the scenes, making it happen. And please help me in welcoming my co-hosts. First up, he's an honorary member of the Texas Bunch. It's flamboyant Josh Briley of P3 Radio. Morning, Josh. How we doing, man?
Man, I am better than I should be. How about you, Gene?
I'm doing good. Actually got a lot of sleep last night. I fell asleep in the recliner watching TV early, so I'm as well rested as I've been in probably 6 months. So I don't know. We'll see if that translates to being any better at podcasting or anything, but it definitely feels better than those nights I get in at 3 a.m. and I'm back up at 8 o'clock doing this. So before we get too far into the conversation, though, we've got another co-host. He's the owner, founder, and president of STSpod.club, and he's Jonesboro, Arkansas's favorite resident. Spoiler alert, it's Brian Tramel. What's up, BT?
Hey, man, how's it going, guys? Excited, Brother Gene, Brother Josh. Another Get Buck! And we're sponsored today by, who are we sponsored by? Furbuster again. We got Furbuster again helping us out. How's everybody doing today? I've been up since about 4:45 and fed the chickens and milked the cows. And man, I'm fired up. Had a bunch of Diet Mountain Lighting and ready to go.
That's the real sponsor for today.
That's right. $1.22 a bottle compared to almost $3 a bottle. I think I like it better. So there we go.
Sam's choice, son. That's where it's at.
As long as it's slapping like the rest.
That's right.
Well, we're going to get right into it today. We're rolling back the clock to March 9th, 1991. And this is the TV right before a big Mid-South Coliseum card, which I hate to disappoint you guys. This is going to be the last card at the Mid-South Coliseum for a few months here.
Oh, wow.
There was a disagreement with, we got some new management at the Mid-South Coliseum. I was doing some reading on this in the Observer this week. But somebody new took over the Mid-South Coliseum, and when they did, they started jacking up the prices. And there were some quotes from Lawler and a couple from Jeff Jarrett in there where the rent on the Coliseum had went up to like $1,500. But they started tacking on all these extra fees to the parking. They made them have extra paid security. I forget what else. But in the end, they said it took a bare minimum of about $4,000 to run the Coliseum. And it just wasn't. You've heard the weeks that we do have an attendance figure. You've heard what those figures are. So we probably haven't been breaking even at the Coliseum in a while now. So they're going to be moving to the Pipkin Building, which is a smaller building on the same fairgrounds property there. And we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But I guess they wanted to blow it out and have a big show here in the last Coliseum card. So Terry Funk's coming to town, as we heard last week. He's going to be putting the title on the line against Jerry Lawler. We got a big Texas Death cage match coming up. So plenty to talk about. But we start the show out hot. We hear from the unified champion himself, Mr. Terry Funk. And we have absolutely, I'm sorry, we haven't had the opportunity since we've been doing this show all the way through 93 up to now to feature a promo from Terry Funk. So I want us to at least watch a couple of minutes of this Terry Funk promo, and it is
God,
classic.
I hope you got my favorite part in there.
We shall see. If not, we'll get you to quote it. But I got a pretty good chunk of it. Let's check it out.
I'll get one
right
of y'all.
now.
I'll get Josh to do it after I tell my favorite part. But yeah, I'm so excited. I was so excited as I turned the show on. Bam! It's Terry Funk, man. It just got that spunk lube out. I was ready to go.
All right, there we go. This isn't Patreon. Remember that.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Understand that? Can you simple-minded people understand that I am the best in the world? So what does he do? He decides to get one of those flim balls, one of them scumbags, to come into the ring and do the refereeing. Fargo. My God, how old is this individual? Have you ever thought about Fargo? He should be in a rest home. He's got to be some kind of a pervert. He's got Alzheimer's disease. He'll count to 1, 2, and forget wherever 3 is. How will I ever beat Lawler? I guess I'll have to beat him half to death. But let's go back to Fargo for a minute. This man is a pervert. I want to tell each and every one of you to leave your children at home because Fargo should be locked up for being a pervert. All he wants to do is look at the fat, ugly, greasy broads that are sitting at ringside. Well, I'm telling you that this match should be held in some beautiful part of the country like Amarillo, Texas. That's where this match should be held, where men are men. And where the women are women, and where a great wrestler is respected. And that's what I am, is a great wrestler. If you people will turn on your TV, even in Memphis, you will see that I am the one that wears this around my waist. I wear this belt around my waist, not Jerry Lawler, not Eddie Marlin, and certainly not that piece of puke Fargo. If he gets in my way, I'll stomp him in the chest. And believe me, if I do that, hey, his heart might even stop. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Then you jerks out there wouldn't have to put up with him anymore.
He's a pervert.
Man, he threw it out there once, and then he circled back to it, hit me with about 3 more. He's a pervert. He's a pervert with Alzheimer's that's going to forget what to do after counting. You don't watch a Terry Funk promo, you experience it. Like it's a whole nother level than what everybody else does. Some of the things he said that was cut out of that one, he calls Memphis a cesspool and the fans are slime balls. And whenever he thinks of Memphis, he gets a phlegm ball up in his throat and tastes rotting flesh, he says, as Lawler's proud to be from this scum dump, Memphis, Tennessee. But man, he went in on Fargo. He's a pervert.
That was my favorite part, was he's a pervert with Fargo, because we've had so many conversations about, especially from the other season where Jackie's sitting on that couch, and that's all I could think about. He's on that couch. He's a pervert.
On that couch with no britches on.
No britches on. That's right. No paints. He wasn't wearing no paints. I know it.
But that Terry Funk promo, man, like for me, I was 8 years old when this came on, and I knew who Terry Funk was because he had done the stuff in WCW, a couple years before. So like I was aware, but I wouldn't have called myself like a Terry Funk fan by any means. But this specific promo is what hooked me. And dude, I cannot tell you how many times I recited this promo when I was 8, 9 years old. I watched it, because my granny taped all this shit. Mm-hmm. So I would just watch it over and over and giggle my ass off, man. Terry Funk is what wrestling promos aren't anymore. Like nobody told him to say any of that shit.
Right.
That is everything off the top of the fucking dome. Like that's what's missing in today's wrestling is that magic, man. Because that's one of my favorite Terry Funk promos of all time.
Yeah, it's one of the best, and it's not one you hear talked about. People point to different ones he did through the Flair feud and different.
Yeah,
ones
mine is Florida. The Flair calls him a horse or something. What do you do when your horse breaks his leg or something like that? So I can't remember what he had.
Speaking of horses, there's that famous one when he was feuding with Eddie Gilbert in Philadelphia, and they've got a video from the Double Cross Ranch, and he's standing there like at the ass end of a horse, and of course. He comes on and puts his name up there, Terry Funk, and then the camera pans over to this horse's ass, and it says Eddie Gilbert. he talks to the horse's ass through the whole promo as if it was Eddie Gilbert.
That was for Yeah, that was Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was ECW.
He done some funny stuff in Puerto Rico too.
Yeah,
that was pretty wild.
I worked a show with Terry Funk one time there in Philadelphia. Me and Gene actually have reviewed that on Was It Really That Good? A benefit show. Was in the opening match, and I sucked. But Funk and his wife, I met them, just so nice. And I think that was the first Cactus Jack Eddie Gilbert match. I was on the same show as the first one. It was really neat meeting him because there's a lot of guys in the business I'd been around, but I had never been around him, and he was, to me, was a fucking legend, you know. So and when you meet somebody like that and he introduces his wife to you and shakes your hand and all that, it's like I was in awe.
Absolutely. It's cool that he's coming in here, and we go straight to Michael St. John sets up a Jerry Lawler retrospective, I guess you could say here. This isn't just like a few quick clips, one of these little, minute-long videos like we see before. This is like Jerry Lawler's greatest hits. We see this package of like different feuds. We see him in the ring with just about every name person. Most of the clips for him pinning them, Savage and Hogan and all these different people. Then they shoehorned the Thank God for Kids video in there for some reason that we didn't need. We see the unification match where Lawler, becomes not only the AWA champion, but the world-class champion as well. And, it's a good build-up to this match with Funk. But you just feel like why are we seeing Jerry Lawler's whole life and career here? But we'll find out here shortly when he comes out here and talks to Dave Brown. And we find out that, Funk alluded to it there, Jackie Fargo is going to be the referee for this title match. And we all know the last time Jackie Fargo was the referee for a title match, Jerry Lawler beat Kurt Hennig for the AWA title in 1988.
On a 4 count, by the way.
He did one better. All those years trying to get a 3 count, he went ahead and had a 4 count, just to be sure. But they ran down the card for the Coliseum, which, as usual, we won't do right now. We'll save that to the end. So Dave, Lawler comes out after they announce the card, and Lawler talks about some nagging injuries, herniated disc in his neck, bone chips in his elbow, and the grind of being in world title contention and being the champion. And then he says, win, lose, or draw, the Terry Funk match on Monday night is going to be his last match for a while. He's not saying it's a retirement, but he's going to be stepping away after this one. And his mission is to get the belt back to Memphis before he steps away. And, this is textbook Jerry Lawler, where you make it real, you make it personal, you add some extra stakes. Oh, we might not get to see Lawler again for a while. We better go ahead and buy this ticket Monday night. We might not see him for a long time. Now, the only thing to me that makes this kind of not make sense is like, well, how the fuck are you going to win a world title and then take a hiatus? But then again, if we're being realistic, Terry Funk won a world title and we hadn't seen him in months.
Yeah,
but
Jerry says,
telling that he's been off defending it in Japan and here and there and yonder. But I don't know. To me, that was kind of a weird message there. What was your take on this promo?
Yeah, I was a little confused because, like you said, how are you going to win a world title? And then it's like, well, I'm going to take a break afterwards. And he kind of emphasized the importance of opportunity and how it usually doesn't come around very often. And that's why he wanted Jeff to understand why he made that decision last week and blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, but yeah, I'm just going to kick back. It's like kind of counterproductive. But I feel like because the king is in a sport jacket, and that is also something that usually that's not usual. Lawler's usually in like some workout stuff or some wrestling gear. So again, suit jacket, Fargo being the ref, whole career package in retrospective. I mean, like it's kind of building towards something.
Yeah. certainly feel like it. BT, what did you think?
Well,
of
I really like the promo. He does make mention that he might have to come back and defend the belt, but it is kind of confusing. What is the shoot story about this? Was Lawler really hurt, or what was going on? I don't remember.
No, I just think I think it was a matter of creating a sense of urgency to get as many people in that Coliseum Monday night before they have to dip out to the Pipkin Building over
Does
here.
he take time off though?
I don't believe he does because he ends up winning
the title.
He did. Maybe he does it. Maybe he takes a little bit of time off, but it's nothing as drastic as what we're alluding to here. I mean, he probably does take 2 or 3 weeks. I don't remember. I hadn't watched ahead. I'm trying to stay in the moment as best I can, but I guess maybe they figure too with the smaller building that maybe they don't have to have Lawler there every week because it'll only hold 2,500 at best, which. I mean, they haven't really been getting anything close to 2,500 at the Coliseum in recent times. We'll see what they hit this week with this card. And like I say, the sense of urgency of if you want to see Lawler, you better come see him and world title. And they're making this, this tag team match with Jarrett and Gilbert against Embry and Prichard as high stakes as they can as well. So I don't know. We'll see how the rest of this plays out throughout the show. We see some wild highlights of Uncle Danny taking on El Grande Pistolero, and there was chairs involved. The ringside steps got involved. They were brawling out into the crowd.
It's Gypsy Joe, damn it.
Yeah, we're starting to reveal that this is Gypsy Joe. This isn't some random luchador who is here to wrestle for a title. And so we follow that up with another fired-up promo from Uncle Danny. He's not backing down. He's keeping that title. And the fans, if Grande Pistolero wants to win that belt, then he's going to have to beat not only Danny Davis, but he's going to have to beat all those fans. And they probably need to clarify to Gypsy Joe, like, no, you don't literally have to beat up everybody in the arena.
Well, see, that's why he was going to have something more than a gun.
There you go.
Because you've only got, 6 shots at best?
6 shots.
At revolver.
After that, we got you.
There's at least... I mean, how many Uncle Danny fans? At least 300 that are going to have his back. So you don't got that many bullets, Pistolero. And I want to add as well, Uncle Danny didn't say El Grande. He said El Grande Pistolero.
Yeah, I was like, that reminded me of somebody at Taco Bell, ordering an El Grande, saying it that way. I was like, oh, that is hilarious. That star looked okay this week, I thought.
I did focus more on the star. I believe it took place in the locker room this time.
I had a friend that I did podcasts with one time. I had a hairdo just like that. Man, God, that 1990 hairdo. He looks so stupid.
Uncle Danny pulls it off a lot better than that clown.
Yes, he does.
Maybe you hear about star ratings all the time. Maybe we need to start rating the star on Uncle Danny's face each week. If he's on here, we give it a thumbs up.
I'd give it 4 hoots out of 5 on this.
Okay, it is 5 possible hoots. That's what I was trying to get. Like, what's the top?
I'd say last week's was maybe a 2 hoots, and I'd say this one's at least a 4.
There you go. I agree.
The lines in it is a whole nother degree of difficulty. Like, you couldn't have done that in your rearview mirror at a stopwatch.
Right. That's what I said. I'm confident he got to sit down and really focus.
Something else that's been fun to me to notice in these promos with Uncle Danny since he won the title, he always strategically holds the belt up to the camera like this, where you don't see world class at the top of the belt. He covers that up with his hand there. Very, very smooth and subtle move. But he's going to keep that title. And you know why, guys?
I don't play.
That's right.
But I used to with that title belt. And might I add, this is before the dressing got put on the salad with that title. Do you ever remember seeing any pictures of this belt like later on in the year? It starts getting like a little bit more colorful. I remember walking in on him at my granny's house with a fucking paint pen, and he was just like outlining where the little ribbons were and stuff. I was like,
Oh, that's awesome.
You were like, Uncle Danny, are you playing with a paint pen?
I don't play.
He set you straight real quick. We're going to be keeping that clip around for future use for just random times. I enjoy that. I've even got an audio version of it.
Don't play.
Just in case we need it. So there you go. So we're getting a rematch for the world light heavyweight title. Uncle Danny referred to El Grande Pistolero as the Mexican world light heavyweight champion. Dave Brown had been careful the previous week, so he was the Mexican light heavyweight champion, while Danny Davis is the world light heavyweight champion. But Uncle Danny has clarified, no, he's the Mexican world light heavyweight champion. So they beat each other up pretty bad last week. No telling what they're going to get into this week. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Next up, the Texas bunch, Eric Embry and Dr. Tom Prichard with Tojo Yamamoto, and he's now got his ominous metal briefcase he's carrying around with him. They're taking on Brad Collins and the mailman, Curtis Thompson. So I got a still shot here of, there's Brad Collins, who
looks like
got
a
a
Paul
flashy
Roman
jacket on. Yeah, he looks like maybe a very young Eddie Guerrero. He's got the flashy Paul Roma jacket, but then again, he's got like the Fabulous One's tights, but in Hulk Hogan's colors. So there's a lot
really
going
think
on.
he was an outlaw guy. I'm not 100% sure, but I did reach out to someone that I thought it was him, Forrest Putnam. I don't know if you guys know him, but yeah, I really think he's a local guy that does, like the Osceola and all them little towns. So
to be fair, he looked like $1 million when he took the jacket off. He was like a little like mini version of Curtis Thompson. I mean, good definition. Like I thought
I agree.
he was going to look like Chris Frazier whenever he took that jacket off. Because usually, the enhancement guys, they don't have the best body. But like this guy, he was like, he goes to the gym.
And it seems like in Memphis, the flashier the enhancements guys' ring gear is, the worse. I mean,
right.
We had that freaking guy 93 running around in a damn Macho Man outfit, but then, he looked like shit. But he had that fancy looking gear on. But so this is basically a mugging. They isolate Collins. I don't think Thompson ever got tagged in.
No. They emphasize at the end, we never got to see Curtis Thompson. I took that as maybe he, well, if you want to pair me with this guy, he can just do all the fucking work type. In my head, that's because Curtis Thompson, I mean, he should, in my mind, he should be getting some W's. He looked like $1 million. And I know the mailman thing, it's not really like main event material probably, but he didn't have to be a mailman forever.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we talked about this a couple times now where they're doing this weird thing on both sides, both the heel and the face side, where a pushed wrestler will tag with a straight up enhancement guy. And I guess it doesn't hurt him that he didn't get tagged in, but still as a fan, you're just going, what the hell is he doing? Why is Curtis Thompson tagging up with a jobber? Like, this don't make any sense. But they beat the hell out of poor Brad Collins. And for the love of God, somebody tell Tom Prichard to quit trying to do that fucking slingshot suplex. It gets worse every goddamn week, this being the absolute worst one yet. If he does it again after this week, I'm going to find a time machine to go back in time to go, dude, stop it. You stop doing the slingshot suplex. We're about to cut out over here to 93 to tell Jarrett quit doing that goddamn DDT and clean this shit up. And it's funny, there was a guy that was going through watching stuff on the YouTube channel, not the podcast, just the actual episodes. And him, without having seen the podcast, got in the comments. It's like, it's crazy. Like, Jeff Jarrett was as smooth as silk in everything he did, except that DDT is the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm like, okay, good. It wasn't just us
with
being
Dr.
nitpicky.
Tom. Well, yeah, he's so smooth, but he can't do that move.
No. And so Eric Embry comes off the top rope with a headbutt a la Dynamite Kid or Chris Benoit, depending on your age and time point of reference. And that's it. So they're getting ready to roll into this Texas Death Steel Cage match. Tojo's happy. And this is the kind of, TV dominating squash that you need to see before a match like this. So I was pleased with this. We haven't listened to a lot of promos from Embry and Prichard so far on the show. So I thought, you know what, let's check this one out for the people who aren't watching along with us. Let them hear what the Texas boys are all about. Hear them talk about this upcoming Texas Death Cage match.
Out here the entire time, insulting everybody in sight. Dr. Tom Prichard, Eric Embry, the flamboyant Eric Embry,
Get it right.
and Tojo.
From the United States of Texas. That's right. Dave Brown, you white-headed thing, man. You can be replaced here. We'll put Tojo in your chair because Texas is taking over. Let's talk just a second, though, about Jerry, the King Lawler, the King of Memphis. You're the king of the cesspool of the world, man. He's weighing it down. You're retiring, Lawler. You're retiring. Monday night's going to be his last match. Well, you know, everybody in the wrestling world, all over the country, they say how egotistical and how stupid Lawler is. Well, Lawler, you ain't that stupid, you know, because you're retiring. You say you've got little injuries here and there. It's because we beat your brains out for the last 3 weeks that we've been here, man. I'm the one, Lawler, that you're afraid of. I'm the one that's making you lay it down, that's making you quit. So the King of Memphis is a quitter, Dave Brown. He's a loser because he's from Tennessee. And I've retired the king. It's going to be a great day for Texas Monday night, because not only are we going to have the biggest celebration and party for the world heavyweight champion Terry Funk from Amarillo, Texas, I might add, but me and flamboyant Eric Embry are going to step into the ring. Not in a Tennessee death match. No. When you want to get it, and you want to fight, and you want to show just what you're made of. They don't call it an Illinois street fight. They don't call it a Tennessee anything. They say Texas death match. And if you really want to make sure that none of these guys can run and hide, Eddie Gilbert and Jeff Jarrett, you put a cage around the ring where there's nowhere to run and there's nowhere to hide. And the only people that are going to be in your face all night long is going to be flamboyant Eric Embry and Dr. Tom Prichard. And when it's all said and done, and when the great state of Texas leaves the Mid-South Coliseum, everybody in Tennessee, everybody in Memphis, Tennessee, is going to hear the party going on for blocks and blocks, and we'll have the world heavyweight champion with us, and Memphis will be stuck with a washed-up loser. Let me ask you something, Dave Brown. Haven't we did everything we said we were going to do since we've been here?
You've been running.
Lock us up in that cage, Jeff Jarrett, Eddie Gilbert. We're not only defending our honor, we're defending the honor of the United States of Texas, man. And we're so sure of ourselves that if you beat us, we'll tuck our head between our legs and we'll go back to Texas.
You guys can stand here and talk all you want to. It's going to be in the cage. Going to be Monday night at the Coliseum. We'll be back.
I loved Embry's promo. This Prichard doing Roddy Piper is so distracting to me. Like it negates everything he says. All I can do is think is like, quit, stop doing the Piper impression, dude. What are you doing? Maybe it's just me.
I never noticed it as a kid. That's why I love these two together. But like, since doing this review with you that you pointed it out, I can't not see it as well.
It's your fault, Gene, damn it.
But, you know, it's still a great promo. Just, oh my God, it's like a perfect impression, you know, but Embry, like, he's fucking great at getting the point across, man. And I love that United States of Texas. He's really trying to push that. That's just constantly getting that over, that it's us against you, all of you, everybody in Tennessee. That's so unique in terms of a storyline, you know, like that had been done previously. Like it's bad guys, good guys, anybody from Tennessee can get it. That's just it's a really nice possibility.
I like it because we know he's the booker. So you can see the little, as we talked last week, the little details that he puts in there to make sure we're getting over the points. I love the idea when they had the match that Tom came over there when Eric was working, and Eric came over there to the announcer's desk. I love that. That's so heelish. And I'm still at the point now where, as a fan, just a fan, that fucking Eric Embry, I want to see him get his ass whooped. I mean, he just on my nerves, his mouth, the way he looks. Oh, he just makes such a great heel for me. Just such a great heel.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny because you see the frustration on Dave Brown's face when Eric goes, "Haven't we done everything we promised we were going to do so far?" And Dave's like, "Yeah, you've done a lot, But it's like,
hey, mention something in that promo too that Embry says: if we lose, we're going to pack up our stuff and we're going to go right back to Texas. So when you go over the results, make sure that we make it. I can't remember the results, but make sure we make a note whether they packed their stuff up and went back to Texas.
Yeah,
so.
And again, that's more of those stakes like we were talking about. Lawler creating a scenario where, like, man, we've got to get down there in case we don't see Lawler again for a while. And with Eric Embry pointing out, we've done everything we said we're going to do. And if we lose this week, we're going to tuck our tails and we're going to leave. Fuck, these might be the last time these guys. Let's go there and see these guys get their ass whooped and see them have to, walk out there with their head hung low, and we'll be there to yell and rub it in their face. So great stuff. Best thing we've seen so far, I think, in any of the Memphis stuff we've watched on this particular show. This screenshot here made me think, when we were kids in school, if two guys in class were touching their head like this, there would have been a lice check.
Yeah, definitely be. There's a lice going on.
That's usually like whenever you play Red Rover and knock heads. This is too.
It's like an Excedrin headache commercial here with them holding their heads. But
looks like Embry's tattling to the teacher. He really tried to headbutt me.
Jerry Lawler in the head. Because I'm from Texas. The United States. I'm glad you pointed that out. I thought of it, but in the promo ended up being so long, I forgot. The United States of Texas. That's tremendous, which will also lead to what we mentioned last week, that Tojo's soon going to be waving the flag of the United States of Texas. So
we didn't get to point out either, but like that briefcase that he's carrying, that is not a normal Halliburton. That looks like a piece of fucking siding or something that was all dented up. He just wrapped like a regular briefcase with it. Looked like tinfoil or something.
There's no telling what they found to rig up that suitcase with, but I guess they probably had to keep knocking it back out each week after they warp it over people's heads.
They're like, make sure you bring your Halliburton, Tojo. What Halliburton?
No Halliburton. Samsonite. We'll make it look like a Halliburton.
We have a Reynolds wrap.
Everything in my case stay very fresh.
Have we heard Tojo say anything yet?
Not a word yet.
Not a word. Not a word. I was wondering that. I wrote that down. I was like, we heard him talk yet?
No, he just appears at ringside, and I mean, like for that promo, he wasn't even
calls it shit. That's what he does.
Yeah. So, he was a nice little addition because they needed a manager, but they didn't need a mouthpiece. So Tojo's
see you later downtown, Bruno. Here you come, Tojo.
I think, honestly, looking back, you think Eric was trying to get like Tojo's evil rub, because he was so dastardly, just probably 5 years from that point, so I feel like maybe that was another little brick that he was adding to that wall to build it all, trying to just add that little extra piece of dastardly to the persona of Texas.
You get that rub of Tojo's evilness and his heat, but you don't have a manager fighting you trying to get their shit in on the microphone. So he can cut the promos exactly the way and get all the points across that he wants without having to say, a Bruno or whoever you want to name. As a manager, they're going to be like, well, I got to say something, Tojo's just like, oh, I'll go to the dressing room. You say what you want.
Yeah, now that you kind of to say it like that, yeah, if you was to, because we talked about how great Jamie Dundee was, like, just a few weeks ago, but that would have took something away from the Texas thing, I think.
Yeah.
Even he was great, but in his own way. So, yeah, like Tojo basically being a mute at this point was perfect.
And just used for interference. I mean, that's exactly what they're going to use him for. I love it. I love Tojo being out there with him. What he's wearing too is just classic. I love it. I love the whole deal that's going on right now. So,
and some people underestimate Tojo's reputation with older fans. Like even down here, like in Birmingham, where Gulas ran, you can ask people, and a lot of people remember Continental and the Armstrongs, but a lot of people, one of the first things out of their mouth, if you talk to them in Birmingham, Chattanooga, all throughout the Gulas territory, Tojo Yamamoto. I mean, people still to this day remember him. They always mention the wooden shoes, and so yeah, he's definitely a added, like you say, layer to this whole thing that it doesn't really just stand out, but he's there. But like you said, if you tried to blend the two, and you'd have had Jamie out here going, "Yeah, I moved to Texas now. Fuck Tennessee," it wouldn't have the same effect because he's it's not genuine. He's just jumping on a bandwagon. So perfectly executed here. I'm loving it so far. And so the Southern Heavyweight title had been held up. So now we're getting a rematch here on TV. Jeff Jarrett taking on Stunning Steve with JC Ice Baby. And of course he's all over ringside, getting his shit in where he can. I almost had us watch this match. But I just didn't want to deal with the technical aspect of having to pull it up and all that stuff. But, good TV match here. Early Steve Austin taking on Jeff Jarrett. And we get a win for Jeff. He wins back the Southern Heavyweight title with a quick sunset flip. I think, BT, you were the one mentioning last week how it kind of made Keith Eric look pretty good because Bill Dundee caught a quick sunset flip win on him. Well, Jarrett manages to catch a sunset flip here on Steve Austin before anybody can hit the ring and do anything about it. But once it's happened, here they come. It's Embry and Prichard hit the ring. Eddie Gilbert comes out to even the odds. And we've got the Southern title on Jeff, but we've also got plenty of heat on our cage match here. And Jeff beat a non-Texan, so it doesn't do anything really to that match because Steve Austin is a Texan, but he's not part of their group, at least not at this point. So,
right. And
what do you guys think of that as far as TV matches goes? What y'all think of this Steve Austin Jeff Jarrett match?
I thought it was good. Like it was a good, quick match, and they didn't have to have this big Gone with the Wind type saga. It was great because they only had so much TV time left anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So they made it happen in that short window. And it's almost like they heard us complaining last week. They had a decision, a actual decision, and then hit the ring and did what they were trying to do in the first place, is, like you said, get that cage match over. And got Eddie Gilbert to run out there. He hadn't shown up all day. I was wondering if he was even at TV this week, and then here he pops out in his street clothes. It was a nice little surprise, because he would need to be there to try to get something going for his end of the match. But yeah, I liked it. It served a great purpose.
Everything Josh said, I agree. It was a fun match. It was I wish they'd had a little bit more time. These guys work well together, yo. I mean, you're talking two young guys that are, just won Rookie of the Year, Austin did, but they work well together. It would have been fun to see a long feud with them in WWE, but that never happened. Jeff has either got some money or what, because he's getting new tights every week. I don't know who made those, but Jesus.
And I don't remember seeing him wear those after that, cause you know what I mean? I can't remember him wearing them.
Yeah, there's zebra trunks, ain't it? And then the tights.
Well, he had a lot more black in
black
the base
and white,
of it. It like I'd never seen him before.
Yeah, he's had some interesting tights here recently. I don't know what's going on with that, but he does cut a a hot babyface promo here. He's sick of being left bloody, and he's ready to end all this shit in the cage, and he's proud to have Eddie Gilbert in his corner, a man who knows every dirty trick in the book, and he's going to have Eddie teach him a few of those tricks between now and Monday night. And I don't know. It was a good promo here. I thought it was really good, fired up promo to equal out what we saw from Embry and Prichard. And so far, Jeff Jarrett's holding his own on promos here. And of course, we know, Eddie Gilbert can cut a fired up. He can do the, like you say, he's like Lawler, where he can do the low key talking, calm promo. But when it's time, he can do the fired up, insane, I'm going to kill every one of you goddamn people promos. And I don't know. I'm enjoying the tag team of Jeff Jarrett and Eddie Gilbert a lot more than I suspected I would.
Eddie doesn't get to talk that much, and you can tell he's kind of pissy at Dave. You can see that look on his face. If you haven't listened to Jeff's episode about Eddie, it's real interesting. He's got a lot of insights on when they work together and everything. He gives Eddie lots of credit, so good stuff.
You said that about him and Jarrett and Austin. Could have had more matches down the line in the WWF. They tell that story. It's gone around for years, but they actually addressed it on Jarrett's podcast at one point about the story where, Austin's sitting there looking at his paycheck.
Right. Yeah.
And Jarrett slaps him on the back and goes, "Stare at all you want. It ain't going to get any bigger," and walks away. And Austin carried that with him through life after that.
Jeff said they worked a lot in Texas against each other on the USWA shows there. So they must have had, they had a natural chemistry there. I was like, wow, this could have been really good, because both of them were so much better at that time when they were in WWE. And Austin was so over, and Jeff was over too. So it would have been interesting.
But it goes to show you, watch how you treat people, wherever you think your position is in life, because when it come time years later and they go to Austin, they're like, "Hey, we're bringing Jeff Jarrett in. We want you to do a feud with him." And he's like, "No, we're not doing that." So, I'm sure, Jeff's done just fine for himself, but I'm sure there were many sleepless nights where he's like, "Man, if I could take that one back."
The money just kept my mouth shut. Yep.
Well, let's take a quick podcast commercial break here, and then when we come back, we'll kind of recap the show, and we'll see what you guys liked and didn't like, and then we'll talk about what the card ended up being and who won, who lost, and if the Texas boys are going to have to hang their head in shame. We come back.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here. Lots of new stuff happening here at WrestleCopia. If you haven't checked out our website at WrestleCopia.com, it's a great way to keep up with the latest episodes of all of your favorite Copia programming, from the Wrestling Memory Grenade to Regional Wrestling with the Territory Talk, the Wrestling Stoop with the legendary Bob Roop, and of course all of those programs also available at your favorite podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the Copia world, all the latest news, random thoughts, fun videos, pictures, and more, make sure to join the more than 33,000 followers over at Facebook.com/Wrestling Grenade. Don't be left out. And last but definitely not least, it's what keeps the entire machine going. I'm talking about Patreon.com/WrestleCopia. We appreciate your support in helping us pay the bills to keep the WrestleCopia Podcast Network running and enabling us to continue to bring you all the quality programming that we offer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Sheik, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise, this team does it all. And all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
of the same boring wrestling podcast? Need something with attitude, chaos, and maybe just a little cussing? That's stspod.club, and we got it all covered. We've got wrestling weirdness with WTF News Desk, 5-minute time limit, and the Southern Fried Brain of me, BT, steering the whole ship. We also have rolling into Memphis every week about the current Memphis wrestling. Interviews, hot takes, and wrestling outrageousness so wild it might get you banned in 12 states. That's right, it's sdspod.club or search all podcast catchers for Shooting the Shiznit, where wrestling podcasts grow chest hair. Not sure what that meant. Love my mama.
Absolutely, and what a card, Dave. In 20 years of wrestling at the Mid-South Coliseum, this could be the best card ever signed.
I think you may be exactly right. It was 7:30 is when it all begins, but remember, 6:30 to 7:30 for the special autograph session. Special championship matches prices, and you'll know why when I show you the complete card here as we go along. 10 big matches on that card. Cody Michaels will be going against Doug Gilbert in the opening match of the night. J.C. Ice will be going against Uptown Bruno. Night Train Jackson will be in the next match. He'll be going against Keith Roberson in what should be a fine single match. Then Stunning Steve Austin will be going against, we'll have J.C. Ice in his corner, by the way. Talking about allegiance, there's another one right there. J.C. Ice in the corner of Stunning Steve as he goes against the U.S. male Curtis Thompson. Following that, the New Kids will be in. Tag team action against the Exterminators. Yeah, Brian and Tony got a tough night's work cut out for them here as they go against the powerful Exterminators Monday night. Then a 14-man battle royal. See that first line there? Something kind of interesting that we have right here, and we have it guarded specially. You will notice as we show it to you, $10,000 cash for the winner of the 14-man battle royal. Then, World Light Heavyweight title match coming up. We'll have more to say about this one a little bit later, too. El Grande Pistolero will be going against Danny Davis with the World Light Heavyweight title at stake. Grudge match coming up. The superstar, Bill Dundee, almost got his hands. Well, he did get his hands on it briefly here today, but then Gaylord and J.C. Ice decided time to leave. Gaylord with J.C. Ice will be there in a match in the ring against Bill Dundee Monday night at the Coliseum. But that is not all. Then comes a tag team match, and in this one, well, a lot of bad blood between the Texas bunch, Tom Prichard and Eric Embry, the flamboyant one, and Dr. Tom, going against Simply Irresistible Jeff Jarrett and Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. But that's not all. A World Heavyweight title match. Special referee, that's right, the original fabulous one, Jackie Fargo, will be there to referee this match. The World Heavyweight title on the line as finally the champion, Terry Funk, is going to be here. And he puts the belt against the king, Jerry Lawler. Jerry, of course, won the match several days ago.
All right, so there you see the card for Monday night. Let's talk about this week's show. What was you guys' least favorite part of today's episode?
Well, again, I've said this a couple weeks in a row now. I'm having to nitpick. I mean, it's a lot of good. It's a lot better than a lot of parts of 93 for sure. But, man, there's just some magic going on now. But where I think my disappointment would lie this week would be just, you know, we had like a certain level of intensity when it comes to the Jamie Dundee versus Bill Dundee feud. And, you know, it was kind of like we focused, you know, a certain amount of time and energy each show for the feud. And now this one, it seems like, you know, which they need to get the Lawler Funk stuff over. I understand. But I just felt like we needed just a little bit more of Jamie Dundee. And, you know, Bill did a promo, and I think Jamie, I can't remember, but I think Jamie may have got a few words in, but it definitely wasn't akin to the special that Jamie got last week, a sit-down interview and all that. But, yeah, that's just my little gripe was I just wish they had a little bit more focus on that situation.
I had to be nitpicky too. I didn't get to see Curtis Thompson in them tight pants again, real close up, and he didn't get to work. So that's the thing I hated. I wanted to hear Michael St. John talk about how handsome he was and how quick he took off his pants. So, but it's picky, but yeah. I agree with Josh too. I mean, we had so much going on with JC for 2 weeks in a row or 3 weeks in a row, and then we just kind of brought him out there for a match this week. But yeah, good stuff. Good show.
I expected when Collins was getting assaulted at some point, Michael St. John just going, boy, Dave, Curtis Thompson sure is looking good over there on the apron, though, isn't he? Delicious. I mean, he's a good wrestler, Dave.
The quote that got me though was that you can really see why the ladies love him, Dave.
Yeah. Mine was talking about both of them, him and Walker. It was like, that's two good-looking guys right there, and I'm like, well, yeah, they are there, Michael St. John, but yeah.
Dave's like, Michael, I don't know what a banana hammock is, but I know you mentioned that when he pulled those pants off a minute ago. What is that? Oh, that's his trunks, Dave. We'll talk about that off the air. I didn't have a least favorite part, but this, like you say, if we're going to nitpick some things, the thing I felt kind of lopsided was Terry Funk gives this very personally insulting promo about Memphis, about the state of Tennessee, about Jerry Lawler, about Jerry Lawler's hero, Jackie Fargo. It was very, very heat-driven. Not even so much just about the title, just that I'm coming to town, your shitty-ass town, I'm going to beat your shitty-ass king, and I'm going to stomp your shitty-ass hero, Jackie Fargo, in the chest, and I'm going to kill him, and things will be, won't that be wonderful, was the phrase he said. Lawler then comes out and is like, man, I'm hurting. I'm all broke down and shit. After I beat Terry Funk Monday night, I'm going to have a break, man. This shit's getting rough. He doesn't really respond to he does not take advantage of anything Terry Funk said in his promo. Like, he could have got that little, yeah, man, I'm hurting, but I tell you what, I'm not going to be hurting Monday night when I come down there to get Terry Funk. You trash talk Memphis. You trash talk.
He was like, I might win the belt.
You trash talk me. And more importantly, you trash talk my hero, Jackie fucking Fargo. You son of a bitch. I'll be there. But he was just, like you said, he's in his sport coat. He's just like, yeah. Woo. Man, I wore out, man. I'm going to get down there Monday night and beat Terry Funk. And then I'm taking a break, son. We're going to head down to Florida or something. I don't know, but I'm hurting. Them damn Fabulous Ones pile drove me on a damn floor out here. I got bone chips and shit. I ain't got time for all these wrestling matches every week. He didn't say shit about Terry Funk's promo. Like, it might as well not even happen. Did anybody else find that odd? Or
I didn't even notice it, but yeah, you're right. You're 100% right about that. It was like, I may win the belt, I might not win the belt. Might be my last match. Yeah, he just very little about Funk, and like you said, just a tremendous interview, a promo with Funk. So yeah, I didn't notice that when I was watching. What about you, Josh?
No, I never looked at it that way. I just thought it was kind of weird, like I said, that King was like, no matter what, I'm sitting down in a chair after this. It's kind of
hard.
Taking away the seriousness of the situation. Like, well, yeah, I thought that was, but I never looked at it that way. But I see what you're saying, though.
When he first started talking, I'm like, okay, this is going to be one of those classic. He starts out low key. He talks about all this, I need a break and all that stuff. But by the end, he's going to put the crown down the desk. He's going to take that damn jacket off and put the sleeves up, and he'll be hollering in that camera at Terry Funk. By the time it's over, he's going to leave heated. But it never came. He's just, whew, I just got to get this shit over with so I can take a break. Man, I'm wore slap out. I mean, it's like he's.
It's almost like he was running for Senate or something. Like he had to get the video package that was favorable to him, and he was petting kids and all this stuff, like in the, or like he was at a zoo or something. Like, oh yeah, look at me being a good person, helping these kids out and all this shit. And then like he's got the sport coat, which is unusual, and he's so monotone the whole time. It's like he was gonna be he was gonna be sitting down in a chair, a leather bound chair, signing some laws into practice or whatever.
I mean, the video package felt like he either just died or was about to. Like we relived his whole career there, and I mean, we had the picture of him with the little clip with him and Jerry Clower and all this stuff. Like it was just, I was like, why do we see him hanging out with Jerry Clower to promote a match with Terry Funk? Like, what does him hugging kids got to do with wrestling Terry Funk? Like. But again, that was just to put over that whole I'm going away thing,
I like the Jerry Clower line, though, that you're talking about two of a kind can whoop a full house. Jerry Clower is talking about he's throwing down.
Hell yeah. Oh, Jerry Clower, yeah, he must have been about some wrestling because he popped up on Mid-South a couple of times too. So that was neat.
Probably a big fan. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Mississippi folks, we don't know no better. But all right, well, let's see what you think here about your favorite thing on the show.
I loved the Lawler video package that we just talked about. Like, as a child, I would watch the shows over and over again, but that package was special because it literally chronicled almost every big win that was of any merit in the past up until that point. And for me, as a wrestling nerd, even at that age, like I would just soak that type of information in because a lot of stuff was just word of mouth at that point. Like I said, I'm 8 years old. I only know what I've saw or my grannies told me or whatever. And so to have that, a video package like that, kind of just a timeline. I love that shit as a kid. And then I could go to school and be like, well, let me tell you who else Jerry Lawler whipped their ass, and I could, throw that into the conversation. Yeah, I absolutely love that.
Well, my favorite part was Paul Davis coming back. So, and I will take my shirt off the Terry Funk promo, guys, was my favorite part. It's like I could have turned it off right then and not watched the whole show. I do love, as I said, the Embry stuff where it's the details of everything that he's doing as a booker. I really, really like that. But my favorite actual part of it would have been the promo there as we started the show. Always a huge Terry Funk fan. And just loved that part. Loved it.
Yeah. This was a good episode. So that being said, and knowing what's at stake on Monday, are we buying a ticket to go see this show?
I'm begging my mom at this point to go and watch Monday night. I don't care if you got to go to work Monday morning or I go to school. I have to see if Lawler's going to beat Funk. Like I'm just, I'm tore up about it. Like that, it was a great deal. Funk and Lawler both just, in their own ways delivered the sense of urgency. Because either way, feels like the King's sitting down, maybe for good. He's all beat up. You never know. He might retire with the title.
I don't know if he is or not. So, but yeah, I'm with Josh. I got to go down there and see that match. And also, being a huge Texas Death, cage match fan, the idea that they comboed these two matches, and I don't remember this ever happening. I really don't know if it happened again, but I love the idea of, what Texas Death is. It only ends when someone gives up. They're in the cage and they're not going to be able to run away or do anything. I love the idea, but yeah, I'm buying my ticket. I'm going to be down there.
Well, all right. Well, let's head to the Mid-South Coliseum, March 11th, 1991. I don't know if BT's already looked at this or not.
I have not.
Does anyone care to take a guess at how many people we drew with this card?
Oh.
So last week it was what was it? Over 1,100, maybe something like that. Or am I thinking about
it was last week or the week before? I don't remember because we haven't really had a a figure for a couple of weeks, but I think last week may have gotten 1,100. I think you're right on that.
I feel like maybe we get at least with Funk for sure going to be there. Maybe at least 1,500. I don't want to be too overzealous.
I'll go with you got to go over 1,000 at least with Funk being there.
Well, y'all undershot it by 100. There were 1,600 people there, they say, to see the opening match. Night Train Jackson beat Keith Roberson, to be expected. Stunning Steve Austin pinned the U.S. male Curtis Thompson. And, they had a pretty good match on TV a couple weeks ago, so that was probably a good one. In the third match, the New Kids defeated the Exterminators. Don't have any idea who the Exterminators were. Probably just random guys with hoods, I'm sure. In the fourth match, JC Ice beat Uptown Bruno. So that was one they really didn't push hard on the show. I mean, they mentioned it, but they didn't, we didn't get promos from Bruno or anything like that. In the fifth match, El Grande Pistolero learned a lesson.
Don't play!
As he defeated him to retain the World Light Heavyweight Championship. Match number 6, I guess Jeff Gaylord no-showed Bill Dundee's scheduled opponent. So Bill Dundee ended up beating Doug Gilbert in a singles match. Seventh match, Stunning Steve Austin won a Battle Royal. I don't know what the stakes of that were. If there was
$10,000. He won $10,000. So
right, it was the cash money they showed.
Yep.
That fan out there.
That's like $2,000 or maybe $1,500.
They had the security guard hold it, not for the fans, just to make sure one of the wrestlers didn't come out there and try to get some money they owed them. So this ended up being the semi-main event instead of the main event. Jerry Lawler pinned Terry Funk to win the Unified World Heavyweight Championship with Jackie Fargo as the special referee.
Then he counted to 7 this time. So.
I think we'll actually have a clip of this for next week, so stay tuned for that. God damn it. This next one makes me angry. This is some Herb Abrams UWF bullshit right here. In the main event, in a Texas Death steel cage match, Eric Embry and Tom Prichard fought to a no contest with Jeff Jarrett.
God.
How do you not give a finish in a fucking cage with a Texas Death stipulation? That is some damn Herb Abrams double count out in a freaking lumberjack match type bullshit right there. Like, you talk about a way to kill any momentum you've got going. You advertise a match that has to have a winner, and then you go to a no contest. What the?
Keep putting over them heels, man. That's what I would.
So they're moving to a building next week that the capacity is 2,500, and with Terry Funk on the card and a Texas Death Steel cage match, we couldn't even put 2,000 in the Mid-South Coliseum. So I think we're okay moving to the old Pipkin Building, actually, but we'll see how all that goes. But how are you guys going to feel? You guys were both fired up to go. You're begging to go. You got your Jerry Lawler title win, and I understand they usually want to do the cage match last because otherwise you're going to have to set up a cage and then take down a cage. But, man, I'd rather send people – if we knew what we're doing in these matches, I would have done that just to send everybody home happy with the Lawler title win. Because by the time they got the excitement of Lawler winning the title, but then they got to sit there and watch them put up a cage, which is annoying and boring at the same time. Then you sit through the cage match and then don't have a winner, and that's what you leave. That's the taste you leave in somebody's mouth. Leaving is no contest in the steel cage Texas Death match. How would you guys have felt going home after this?
I would have had a bad taste in my mouth. Leave it to Memphis to figure out a way to not have a finish in like one of the most impossible environments. Yeah, I think that's the wrong move. Like, should have had something, figure it out. But good God, don't piss them off like that.
I have to have the finish before I'd make a decision. If the finish involves some kind of, I know that result, what it says, but I would have to know exactly what happened, which we'll look at next week. I'd be happy to see Lawler had won the belt from Funk, and I'm still going. Here's what I'm not too happy about is going to that small
Jeff
building.
Gaylord wasn't there.
Well, Jeff wasn't there, and then Curtis Thompson wasn't show close up. But was because to me, going to a small building, I remember this very clearly that it made me feel like they were really second rate. Like this is which it was not, but it made me feel like these were the final days of Memphis wrestling. And thinking they were going to this small building. And I don't know what they draw. I can't remember, but I was not excited about going at all.
The only thing worse than that, and I went to a few of these shows because I was in college at the time, is when they moved to the Big One flea market.
Oh, God.
In the 90s.
Yes.
That just sounded like some low budget shit when they'd be like, this week at the Big One flea market. And I remember going, me and my buddies loaded up on a Sunday afternoon and went and watched Jerry Lawler wrestle Sid at the Big One flea market. And it was just like, what the fuck are we doing?
I think they had a fluffed up term for it. That was the Big One Expo Center.
Yeah, that's it.
So, like,
yeah, there you go. Yeah,
didn't-
Expo Center. Yeah,
if you didn't live in the area, you had no idea where it was. You just, in my head, I was thinking, well, this is a great building. They're going to this other building that's this big thing, the Big One.
I forgot about that because, once we got there, because it was like Big One Expo Center down there. And then we got there and it's a flea market and it's painted across the wall in huge letters, Big One Flea Market. And I'm like, they're wrestling a fucking flea market now? Like, oh my God, times are hard. But I was just psyched to get to see Sid and Lawler.
Hey, I never wrestled at a flea market, man. That makes me better than them, I guess. I never did that, but I did wrestle one night where the dressing room was a dirt floor. So there you go. I bet you.
Have you not ever had the dressing room as a cattle trailer?
No, never. I had a tent. I had a dressing room as a tent one time. I
got dressed in cattle trailers, school buses, tents. Yeah, me and Tony Dabbs were talking about at the last EPW show about all the awful dressing rooms we had been in over the years. And and we wrestled. We had a gig where we were wrestling like twice a month at the Pontotoc flea market, like right in the middle of the flea market.
Awesome.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever had any, I'm sure you have, but does any of them stick out like a dressing room where they just, it had this serious feel, but you look around, it's like the biggest joke. Like you said, it's like cattle trailer, but they're like stressing over like the finish has to be this,
Yeah.
That's every dressing room, Josh. And you always got somebody.
The weirdest one was the one that had the school bus as the dressing room. It was like it was in the winter. And they had a heater at the front of the thing, that was kind of blowing back. Mm-hmm. And then so, we're getting dressed at the back of the bus. Go figure. And so there's like a person hollering out, at the front of the bus, the promoters up there, and match number 4 is going to be blah, 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 blah. Who's going over? What? Who's going over? So-and-so. I was looked at Neil. I'm like, is this really our lives right now? We're getting dressed in a freaking school bus. And he's like, well, at least it's not a short one. And I was like, I feel like it should be, but
no, I didn't have anything bad like that. I did, like I said, probably the dirt floor. And it was, I think I mentioned it on here. It was kind of like a garage, and we drew like 110 people in this little old bitty building. We had everybody's friends and family come for the first show, and in the second show I ran, we had like 22 showed up. Ouch. Everybody was but there was a snake at that show that came out, and Derek didn't want to go out and wrestle. There's a snake out there. But yeah, that's probably the worst place I ever worked. I've been in long distances and got paid. I went to Waverly, Tennessee one time, which is really far up. I think it's past Nashville or right before you get to, and we made like
it's about maybe, it's at least an hour from Jackson.
And I made $3. I made $3 on that trip. So I'll save this for Patreon. I'll tell everybody what I said about that $3 on Patreon. There you go. Teaser.
There you go. Yeah, I've got a fun Patreon story that you'll know about this promotion, but we'll save it for there too. So, all right. Well, as we wrap up this episode, there is not an episode of P3 Radio this week, but they will be returning very soon. BT, what's shaking over on
Hey,
STS?
man, real quick, I talked to Smokey during the show, and he loaded up something. Since P3 Radio is not an episode this week, here is a tribute to P3 Radio. That's Richard laughing, by the way.
Yes.
My shows. I'm pathetic. All right, here we go. So we had episode 984 this past week, Tramel versus Tramel. Promoter in the Carolinas came on and talked to me. We talked about the Jerry Lawler show, which they showed clips of, and this Tramel guy's not like me. He's a big Christian, the devil whisperer or whatever. And I told him the reason why I'm not religious is that when I was a kid, I would go to Sunday school. And as soon as Sunday school was over, I would go home because I had to watch the Jerry Lawler show. So I never got the church, how it was all about Jerry Lawler. We talked about that in a bunch of stuff. Fun show. Episode 985 was rolling into Mempo number 239. And we got coming up this week, episode 986, which is from June of 1991, Cassette Wrestling News. And Jeff talks about some of the Evansville shows during that time. And that's why he said something which this is kind of a spoiler. Well, it's not. But we talked about whether he said Lawler returned. So I'm wondering if he just returned to Evansville or Lawler did take time off. He put over Doug big time, too. Doug was doing some kind of new kind of gimmick where he was acting crazy or something. I don't know. But he put Doug over on that show. But they had the results from the Evansville show that he always attended. It's fun. It's fun to listen to these old school. I mean, this Cassette Wrestling News was recorded in 1991, and we're able to get it out and let people hear it. So that's what we're doing this week.
Cool. This week, check out, it actually dropped last Friday, but if you haven't heard it yet, check out episode 52 of Dangerous Conversations with Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich. It is the season 2 finale of Dangerous Conversations. We're going to be taking a few weeks off, then eventually we'll return with season 3. But this episode was interesting. The guys talked about a show over in Dyersburg where Tommy encountered a spider, and turns out Tommy Rich has arachnophobia. Apparently, he's very afraid of spiders. And funny story relating to that. They talk about their experience going up to Philadelphia for Tony Khan, the Eddie Gilbert tribute that Tony did after was that Collision, I think is the show they shot on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And a really, really classy thing Tony Khan did. He flew in Doug and Tommy. He flew in Sting. Jeff Jarrett was already there, but all those guys went out in the ring and said some nice things about Eddie and, put him over as the king of Philadelphia. And they had a great time. They met with, a lot of the AEW talents they hadn't met before. And Tommy talks about the huge buffet spread they have back there. And so that was fun. And
fun
they
show.
Doing the Comic Con in Jackson and running into Honky Tonk Man and everything. So check that one out. They're going to be on a little bit of a hiatus, but we'll be back with season 3 before you know it. And just also check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Retro Wrestling Archive. Put up a bunch of stuff lately. We're in the process of getting all of Memphis 1984 up. 82 is up. More of the we've added the WTF news desk to the YouTube channel. So everything that has gone on from April up through August is there now. And moving forward, it'll be updating to the channel at the same time that it updates to BT's feed over at stspod.club. So we're excited about that. And the Cassette Wrestling News that Brian was talking about, we're going to start going back and putting up the old episodes of that.
Yeah, 14
count as well.
Yeah. It'll be 14 counting the one we are going to put out Wednesday. So yeah, we've got Eddie Gilbert, we got Danny Davis. It's a really good interview. Josh has listened to that. Danny's like reveals a lot of stuff. He doesn't kayfabe, which was real surprising back in the time. So good stuff. It's really good. I think I got 20 more tapes over here I still got to put on.
And see, ironically, the Uncle Danny and Cody Michaels is in that interview as well. It takes place literally around this same time period that we are watching TV right now. Which is pretty cool. Listen.
A teaser if you're listening. Here's a little teaser to Uncle Danny's Cassette Wrestling News interview.
I don't play.
Or kayfabe.
That he plays, because by God, he does not. But anyway, I've enjoyed checking those out in the past. I'll be excited to have those included over on the YouTube channel. I think
I'm sorry.
You're rocking on towards 1,100 now. We'll like those.
Sorry to step on you, Gene, but another one of the shining star moments of that Cassette Wrestling is when Jerry Lawler, what do you call you, a fat piece of shit, BT?
Yeah, that episode's in there too. The episode of Cassette Wrestling News this week, it has a quote on it that Jeff actually edited out of the original that Lawler talked to. Yeah, Lawler calls me a pansy and a jock sniffer. So, but they credit it to his co-host said it was Lawler was talking about the Ultimate Warrior, but he's actually was talking about me. So, yeah. You know, I'm gonna get some mileage out of that too. Again, I
find it so funny that shit that most people would not want known. Like, I feel like BT's going to have it put on his tombstone. Jerry Lawler called me a fat piece of shit. This is going to be right there. He's already told Misty, he's like, I want it on there. Make sure everybody knows that for all eternity.
I have people message me and say stuff like, man, that was wrong, blah, blah, I can't believe it. And I'm like, other people message me, make my real close friends give me hell about it. But I had some of my high school buddies go, man, that's sorry, Jerry Lawler. And I'm just like, man, I'm just soaking up the numbers. I don't give a shit what Jerry Lawler said about me,
And you've seen Lawler since then, and y'all get along fine.
Yeah. We made up. Like I said, we made up after that when I met his lawyer. Do y'all remember that story? He introduced me to his lawyer, and then we've been cordial ever since. I seen him in Evansville last year, and he actually remembered me, I think. So that was pretty cool.
Just to kind of condense that story, if you haven't heard it, it involves Jerry Lawler, his lawyer, BT, and a back door. But we'll just leave it at that.
That's it.
Just connect the dots from there. You can figure that out. So anyway, Lawler had, he was mad at you at one point, then he got over it, and you guys are fine. Unlike some people who got mad at you, got over it, got mad at you again, and
we still don't know why.
And I wish I had kept
those.
You
want me to call him? You want me to call him right now? Let's
Wouldn't that be something?
Let's call him.
He's taking people back and forth to church right now, dude. You can't interrupt him right now.
Oh, man. We'll call him.
I'm trying to take people to church, you piece of shit.
I got an idea. Why don't you pray for better legs next time, and I won't have to take your ass to church. It's early.
Lawler was right about you.
About them diabetes. You got diabetes now.
All right. So if you want to hear more of what somebody's probably saying about BT right now, we may have some more on Patreon. So join us over there. But if not, join us back here next week for more of the Retro Wrestling Review USWA Podcast.